Hey Blitzers, welcome back to channel The Muffin here. So I thought of a very interesting topic that could make for quite an interesting video, which is not only to rank tanks from best to worst or vice versa, but in terms of tank types, which ones are performing the worst to the best. So this video puts it together. This is all from data that I've compiled off Blitz stars and categorizing each type, taking the entire average win rates and then getting the averages for both to see which ones are performing the worst and the best. So ranked from worst to best. First off, performing average win rate across all is tank destroyers. Now, tank destroyers, in a way, almost make sense to me because those are the types of tanks, if you watch a lot of my tips and tricks videos, are the most team-dependent tanks. They're mostly the tanks that don't have turrets or armor, or they struggle on traverse. They don't have the best view range, but they have the best cannons. And so that could be the reason on why these tanks are performing the worst. Not to say tank destroyers are not good, but I can see why they rank the lowest because, in my opinion, I think they're the most team-dependent tank. So let me know what you guys think. Next, number third is medium tanks. This one, I'm actually not... This one caught me by surprise because as a medium tank, you have the benefits of maneuverability, view range, and so I thought this one would have ranked a little bit higher, but this one came in third. I'm not sure exactly why. I know there are a mix of some in this category that should be more light tank in my opinion, but they're labeled as medium tank, like the CDC or the Leopard. So I don't know. Let me know your guys' opinion. I thought this tank would have been a bit like these types of tanks would have been a bit more independently functioning because of all those attributes that I'd mentioned with view range and mobility. And then number two is heavy tanks. Now, these ones I can see ranking as number two because if you've watched any of my ranking videos before, like ranking all of the tanks, tiers 10 from worst to best or tiers 9 worst to best, etc., the tanks that typically rank higher are those that are heavy tanks. And in a way, it almost kind of makes sense across the player base because players typically, on average, do better with tanks that have more armor than not. Not saying that the tanks that don't have much armor are bad. That's just generally the types of tanks that players do better in. So this one, in a way, I guess I could see why it makes sense. However, it almost doesn't make sense in terms of which tank ranked as number one in terms of average performing win rate across all, which was its light tanks as number one. And in a way, it didn't make sense based on my last reason. But on this reason, light tanks have sometimes the best view range, they have the best mobility, the best speed, and so for them, you can really zip around the map, get yourself in different positions a lot quicker, and in my opinion, light tanks are much more independent compared to tanks like heavy tanks or tank destroyers that have less view range or they're less flexible. So I don't know. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Once again, this was just Blitz stars data, not my opinion, and just taking the entire win rate of category of each section and then just finding the averages. Thought it would be fun. This is the Muffin here. Stay cool and keep tanking.